Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us, and thanks to Reem Tamer for this report. With us now live over the phone to shed more light on the issue is Mr. Ahmed Khattab, and Mr. Khattab is a political and economic analyst. Mr. Khattab, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening to all of you. My pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Mr. Khattab. So, dear sir, President Sisi stressed in his speech delivered on Tuesday at the Africa-France Partnership Summit in Nairobi, Kenya, that development cannot be achieved without peace. The President also called for, warned of the repercussions of the growing geopolitical tensions that are obstructing global supply chains, harming food and energy security, especially in Africa. Mr. Khattab.
Yes. Today, our President Fattah al-Sisi participated in the Africa-France Summit held in Nairobi alongside William Ruto and Emmanuel Macron, senior African leaders and international financial institutions. He highlighted our President Sisi's speech. Peace and development are interconnected. President Sisi also says that there is no development without peace and no peace without development. He warned that the growing geopolitical tension, especially in the Middle East, are negative, affecting first global supply chain, energy security, food security, Africa economic and development goals, reforming the global financial system. The businesses called for a comprehensive reform of the international financial system to better support developing countries, particularly African nations. He emphasized the need for easier access to sustainable financing, fairly international lending mechanism, a strong support from multilateral development bank, greater public and the private sector financing. Main proposal, President Sisi present debt for development swap programs, expansion of the green bond, financing environmental friendly projects, reforming multilateral banking policies, increasing sustainable development funding. President Sisi highlights the growing debt crisis in Africa, noting that some countries now spend more in debt servicing than healthcare or education. Campaign supporting Africa economic growth. The President emphasized the importance of supporting Africa exports, encouraging emerging international industry in Africa, activating Africa Continental Free Trade Area, strengthening inter-Africa supply chain, invest in Africa youth skills and training, Egypt economic reform experience. President Sisi review Egypt economic reform effort despite ongoing regional and the global crisis. He stated that Egypt continue implementing financial and monetary reform, legislative and investment reform, major infrastructure projects, transportation and logistics modernization. He added that Egypt aims to position itself as a gateway to Africa through strategic investment in roads, transportation, communication, logistics, infrastructure. Egypt, France, and the international cooperation. The Sisi expressed Egypt's commitment to expanding cooperation with France and international partners to support economic development, social development, sustainable growth across Africa. Main message of the summit, the Egyptian message at the summit focused on building fair global economic system, enhancing Africa access to finance, linking stability with development, strengthening Africa economic integration, promoting sustainable inclusive growth across the continent. More data about this summit. I think the summit is the new format of the traditional Africa-France Summit, but this edition carried a major political shift. It was hosted for the first time in an English-speaking African country. The summit aims to refine a relation between France and African nations and on the basis of equal partnership, investment in state of aid, economic sovereignty, innovation, and technology cooperation. The summit was hosted by William Rutte, Emmanuel Macron, and the Vice attended as VIP president. More than 30 African heads of the state attending alongside with the UN Secretary General, African Development Bank official, and CEO of the business leader. And I think the reforming global credit and the lending system is the main target of this also summit.
Yes.
Africa leaders strengthened critical global credit rating mechanism, arguing the Africa countries are uniformly classified as a high-risk economy, and I think the issue is not liquidity, it's risk. Article leadership argue that African pay much higher borrowing costs than developing nations. Current rating system discourage investment. Many African economies are emphasized despite the strong growth potential. And I think also proposal backed by Macron. Emmanuel Macron supports the creating of first loss guarantee mechanism. This proposal would reducing investment risk in Africa, encourage a private international investment, lower borrowing costs for African government, help finance infrastructure and industrial projects. Macron says that the plan to present the proposal at the upcoming G7 summit. Massive investment announcement. One of the summit also biggest outcome was the announcement of 23 billion euro investment for Africa. The package includes 14 billion for French company and 9 billion for African company. Priority artificial intelligence, green energy, agriculture, logistics, infrastructure, technology innovation, major economic projects announced among the major deals. France shaping gain CMA and CGM announcements at 7 billion investment to modern the port of main base. Multi-Africa French partnership was signed in digital technology, renewable energy, industrial manufacturing, trade, logistics. Egypt position as the summit of the President Fattah al-Sisi emphasized several strategic priorities. Egypt call for fair access to global finance and debt infrastructure mechanism and expanding development financing, a strong Africa industrialization, and create inter-Africa trade integration. And also President Sisi also highlight Egypt's infrastructure expansion and logistic strategy linking the North Africa, the Red Sea, West Africa, and Mediterranean trade routes. Egypt presents itself as a regional logistic and investment gateway to Africa. While the summit matters geopolitically, France is trying to rebuild influence in Africa. The summit comes after France lose significant political and military influence in several West African countries.
Right. Mr. Khattab, thank you very much really for summing up really all of what's happened in Nairobi. Speaking of France, the French President Emmanuel Macron said that it is time now for Africa to be less dependent on the United States and on China, and that the continent can count on France as a true partner for development, and that he believes that it is in the continent's interest to be less dependent on the Americans and on the Chinese. He also, Mr. Macron, called for a permanent seat for Africa at the G20, amongst the many points that he mentioned in that very important Africa-France Partnership Summit.
Yes.
Mr. Khattab.
Yes. I think Emmanuel Macron sent a lot of positive message related to the cooperation between France and Africa in the coming 10 years, especially in Africa. Is still the hub for more foreign direct investment from France and from all over the world. And I think President Donald Trump sent a message about the huge amount will be invested by more than 23 billion of euro in Africa, focused in investment. And I think a lot of this investment in major projects in infrastructure, in agriculture, in maritime, logistics, and clean energy. And clean energy will be main focus also. And Egypt, at the same time, have a wonderful relation as a key African in the Middle East, especially North Africa, and Egypt is positioning itself as a logistic gateway between Africa and Europe and Russia, and the manufacturing and the export hub, and regional and regional energy center. And also Egypt also will be a hub for digital transformation, leader in North Africa especially, and the strategic advantage including Suez Canal and Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea access, expanding infrastructure and industrial zone, growing renewable energy capacity, membership in COMESA and membership in African Free Trade Agreement also will help Egypt to be key country in investment between Africa as a key country and France. And Egypt has increased a focus on green hydrogen, renewable energy, and smart city, transportation corridor, and all digital infrastructure. And this is also will be a very wonderful chance for Egypt for more direct investment between Egypt and France as a key strategic partnership. Also, President Emmanuel Macron sent a lot of policy related to borrowing money to African countries, and financial and credit constraints. African countries continue facing high borrowing costs, and this is discussed in the summit. Sovereignty debt pressure and currency validation and the limited access to long-term financing, and this is also discussing in the summit because all Africa countries need long-term finance, not aid. And,
yes.
And the cooperation between all key countries in Africa and France will be in green economy and in agriculture and industry. And I think also Egypt will support the increase of the mutual of trade between France and all Africa, because Egypt is a gateway for investment in Africa. I think this summit will be add value to Africa because all the African leaders participating in this summit sent a positive message about the future of cooperation between Africa and France.
Absolutely.
And all of this key country participating aims to reduce perceived investment risk and encouraging a private capital flow, lower borrowing costs for African projects. This is main topic and main point we focus on. Regional infrastructure, the success of AFC, FTA could also support the trade, create the world's largest free trade area by population, and reduce inter-Africa trade barriers, strengthening manufacturing value chain, expanding infrastructure cooperation, public-private partnership. Africa infrastructure grow increasingly depend on sovereign wealth fund, Gulf investment, Chinese finance, European Development Bank, and BBB framework. Digital and green transformation with future investment grow will likely focus on. I think also green hydrogen, solar and wind energy is the main topic we focus in. Smart logistics, climate resilience, and agriculture, because Africa will be a leader in agriculture field and all investment in agriculture. Energy and green transformation is very important. Africa holds a massive renewable potential, solar corridors in North Africa, hydropower in Central Africa, green hydrogen opportunity in Egypt, Morocco, and Namibia. For example, France and Europe increasing seek African partnership for energy security, critical minerals, green industrialization, logistics and maritime trade. Major investment opportunities existing in port, railway, trade corridor, maritime infrastructure. The modernization of port of Mombasa by CMA and the CGM is one example announced at the summit. Egypt logistics strategy center on the Suez Canal economic zone and Red Sea connectivity, Mediterranean integration, Africa-Europe trade corridor, all technology and digital economy. Africa digital economy is projected to grow rapid because of young demographic, mobile banking adaptation, expanding startup ecosystem. Egypt has emerged as a regional oil and the technology hub through Digital Egyptian Initiative, smart city development, regional data infrastructure, all partnership and the conferences, agriculture and food security. Investment priority includes food processing, irrigation technology, desert agriculture, supply chain modernization. This has become increasing urgent due to climate change, global food distribution, rising import dependency. Egypt and China-Africa investment opportunity also. Why China, especially China, remain Africa's largest infrastructure and trade partner. Chinese agreement include railway.
Yes, and a zero tariff policy from the part of China for many African countries. Mr. Ahmed Khattab, thank you very much for your comprehensive summary, really,